All right, so I'm outside of a 2020 Honda Accord, and this is the LX version. Now, this is the radiant red metallic, and it's gonna have a nice ivory interior. So I just wanna start you here so that you can see some of these features. 192 horsepower, 4-cylinder engine. It's a CVT transmission, Bluetooth, audio, 4 speakers, 6 airbags in the car. It does have Honda sensing, which I'll go over once we get inside of the car. And then your price, including your destination and handling, is right here. So if you're looking for gas mileage, 30 in the city, 38 on the highway, get you 33 combined. And then your overall crash rating is a 5-star, so that way you can see this too. So let's walk around this car and talk about this and what the model above it gets. So I want to start by pointing out the 17-inch wheels right here. So if you were moving up a model, you would gain a 19-inch wheel. So that would be the sport model. So things that'll get you in that sport would be a 19-inch alloy wheel, fog lights if you were looking for those, leather interior, a 12-way powered seat, an audio touchscreen with Apple Carplay and Android Auto, and a deck-lid spoiler. So if you're comparing those two, that's what that jump in price is, just so you know. So in the front of this car, you're gonna see a nice chrome grille here. You don't have fog lights like I mentioned. You do have LED daytime running lights on your halogen beam lights, so you should be good to go there. Now moving around to this side over here, I'm gonna show you that nice interior that I was talking about. It's a nice tan, and it's a nice feel to it. It's almost like, I don't know, like a neoprene finish, so it prevents stains and it lets water drip off quickly. So I like it for that reason. Now you'll notice you do have your body colored mirrors and your body colored handles on the car. And as we move around to the back, I'll point out you can see that you do have the fin up top as far as your receiver. Now, when we get to the back of the car, you can crank it, you can open the car right here. I will point out that there is no remote start on this. You would need to climb up one model to get remote start if that's something you're interested in. But let's pop the trunk and look here. First thing I'll point out is you do have a backup camera, which is right there. Now, looking into the trunk, I'm just gonna point out you've got a single flip down back there. If you wanted the 60-40 split, you're gonna be going up to that sport model. So you just have an understanding of what you're gaining or losing. You do have carpeted floor mats that comes in all of our vehicles. So those are good right there. And then underneath all of this, you're gonna see that you do have your spare, your jack, and all your accessories, including your funnel in case you run out of gas. So your full diameter spare is actually underneath there. I'm not gonna pull it up, but just to give you an idea, it's full height, just not full width. So it's a little bit bigger than a donut. So let's throw these back in there real quick and show you the back seat of this vehicle. All right, so as far as back seat, I'll let you know that I have the seat pushed, I think, all the way back right now, and I'm a 6-footer and I can fit behind myself. So you've got a good amount of space to work with right here. This will give you a better view of that interior. Seats 3 in the back, 2 in the front, so 5. I will point out that you do not have air vents in this model, so you're gonna need to climb a couple models if you want that. So just be aware in case you got little ones or something. Car cools down pretty quick, but it's just something to keep in mind in case that's something you really do want. So let's hop in the car, crank her up, and we'll go over some features together here. All right, so I'm gonna point out the first thing. I mentioned this earlier, if you were looking for that 12-way powered seat, you are gonna wanna go up to that sport model. So just keep that in mind. Maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't, but let's hop in and get the car cranked up. So it is a push button start, so foot on the brake, press start button as long as I get the key in the car, and we're good to go there. Let's go over a couple features here. So over here on this side of the car, you've got your auto window, passenger and driver side. So you should be good to go there. And then your window locks, your door locks, and your mirror controls right here. Now over here, you can see that you can reset the tripometer, and then this toggle right here is actually to control the dimness or brightness you can see. So when I play with that, you'll see it kind of light up and dim there. So that'll take care of you from that standpoint. Now down below that, we've got a couple different features here, and I'm actually gonna move the car here a little bit before I show you them, just so we're not facing into the sun, so you can see a little bit better to what is going on. Now that first feature you see with a car and a circle around it, what that is part of your Honda sensing. So that's gonna pull up 3 different features related to Honda sensing, and that's gonna be your collision mitigation braking system, your road departure mitigation system, and then I believe your lane keep assist. So just some different systems that you can turn on and off depending on what you want to do. Now below that, the car with squiggly lines, that is going to be your vehicle stability assist. So that works with your traction control. So that way if you're going into a skid, you can help transfer power to whichever wheel is getting a better traction in the car. And that way you can make sure you're taking care of yourself there. The only time you'd really want to turn this off is if you were stuck in the mud and you wanted to spin your tires while somebody was trying to help pull or push you out. That would be about the only reason you would turn that feature off right there. So all right, found a little bit of shade we can work with in here, so I think this will be a little bit better. Okay, now jumping up onto the steering wheel. I'm gonna start you on the left side. Just point out the first button right here is your home button. So this is related to the screen that you see up here. And you can see how I can toggle through some different things right there. So it's digital on the left side, and then you have an analog setup on your right side. So just so you have an understanding for what's going on there. I really like this setup just because I feel like it's really helpful as far as getting all these different displays over here versus just having a single tachometer. Because a lot of people don't really use the tachometer much, so it doesn't make as much sense. So let's show you some different menus that you can scroll through here though. So first thing I can do is if I want the tachometer, I can absolutely have it right there. If I scroll one down from that, I can go range. So if I want, fuel consumption, miles on this tank of gas, that sort of thing, I absolutely can take advantage of that if I want. So below that on the menu screen here, we've got speed and time. This is just more related to your driving habits if you want to take care of that. Now traffic signs, this is a really cool feature. What this is it will use the camera that is up here. It's part of the Honda sensing setup, and it'll detect traffic signs out in front of you. And when it picks up a sign letting you know a speed, it'll throw it right there for you. What's really cool about this is, you can use your GPS and phones, and sometimes they'll tell you what you need to know. But a lot of times what you'll run into though is that they're not going to pick up work zones and things of that nature. Whereas this, anytime you pass one, it's going to read that sign and throw it out there to you. So it's just a really cool and helpful feature for that sake. Now, moving down one from that, you've got your driver support. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. This is related to Honda sensing, which I'm going to push that button that we were talking about earlier just because I didn't. If I press that button with the round circle around it, it'll pull up this. And then from here, I can turn things on and off. So road departure mitigation is off right now. So I want to make sure that that is on. And then my collision mitigation braking is on. So those two features, showing two in this car. It's a little bit different in some of the other models. So just to give you an idea, road departure mitigation, if you start to drive off the shoulder of the road, it'll give you an audible alert and then it'll start to shake the wheel. And then the one below that, collision mitigation braking. What this is, if it's looking like I'm gonna rear in another car, first it'll give me an audible alert, then it'll actually flash in the dash, and then it'll actually start to apply the brakes to help prevent the accident. So a really cool feature, does some really nice things as far as safety goes. So that's what those two are. Now moving down below that, driver attention. What this is if you're using your adaptive cruise control, which I'll go over here in a second, and your lane keep assist and some of these different features, you're not going to be doing a whole lot, so it's not going to have you really active in the car. And after a period of time, if it notices that you're not really touching the gas, the brake, or really affecting the steering wheel too much, it's going to go off just to make sure that you're up and you're alert. So it's just there for your safety, but you can turn it on and off, and it's not a jarring alert or anything like that. Now maintenance, this will just tell you your oil life, which is kind of nice, to throw it out there, let you know that you're 100%. When you get down to 15%, it will give you an alert, and it'll throw you a code A1, A2, B1, or B2. And what's really cool is you can look in your manual, or you can Google this. Honda's been doing it for years, but it's just nice because it's going to tell you exactly what they're going to recommend to you when you get to the dealership. So that way, if you're worried about feeling like you're getting upsold, or you're going and you're like, I don't really know what my car needs, you can have an idea before you even get there what they're going to recommend to you. So just something to keep in mind. Down below that, safety support. So that's what I mentioned earlier. If you saw that, you'll notice that that logo looks very familiar related to that button. So just two different ways to get to the same feature. And that's when you pull that open, it's just going to pull open the two different features that we went over and letting you know that, my road departure mitigation on and my collision mitigation braking is both on. And now down below that, I've got my warnings. This would be like if my trunk was open, if I needed to put on a seatbelt, if a door was, not quite closed, that sort of thing. That would be where this is. So how I'm doing that is I'm just hitting the home button, and then I can toggle between them. As you can see, they're moving back there. And then when I want to select one, if I press down on that, it'll select. So you'll notice I have my volume controls. I've got my source button, so jumping between audio. Right now it's just FM and AM. If I have my USBs, Bluetooth, anything else hooked up, you'd see those things come on too. So that's what's going on right there. Now down below that, you've got your Bluetooth controls. So to answer a call, to hang up a call, and then use your voice command. Voice command, call this person, that sort of thing. If you're in the sport model and you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, this plays a little bit different role. So, if you're curious about that, I've made a video on the Honda Accord Sport that you can watch too. But for the sake of this, it's just answer call, hang up call, and then placing voice commands to place calls, right? Moving over to the right side of the steering wheel, you have some additional Honda sensing features. So this is part of what helps get the car that 5-star crash rating. Now, if I press the main button, you're going to see ACC and LKS come up on here, right? So ACC stands for Adaptive Cruise Control, and LKAS stands for Lane Keep Assist. So let's start you out with Lane Keep Assist. Lane Keep Assist is this button right here. When I press this, you're going to see some dotted lines come and fill out there, right? So those dotted lines, hopefully you can see them flashing right now. Now what that is it's going to use the camera up in this box to detect the lines down on the road. And if you start to drift one way or the other, the steering wheel is going to pull a little bit to the left or right to keep you centered. It's nothing jarring or anything like that. And if you're using your blinker, it's not gonna do it. But let's say it's an emergency, I need to get over really quick and I'm worried that, hey, is it gonna prevent me from getting over? Absolutely not. This is like if you've ever been in an older car that pulls a little bit to the left or the right because, string's off or whatever. That's what it feels like when it's keeping you centered. So it's not, it's easily, you could overtake it, should I say. So that's lane keep assist. The caveats to this I will tell you is you have to be going over 45. Once you're going over 45, you'll notice that these dotted lines will fill in solid, and then it's actively reading the road. So that's the indicator to let you know, hey, the system is on now. I can see my dotted lines, and then it's actively reading them when those fill in solid. Outside of that, if you have your windshield wipers on, it will disengage this feature. So know that, because it is gonna, obviously want you to pay a little bit more attention to the road and really focus on what you're doing. So that's lane keep assist, right? Now, adaptive cruise control uses these 3 features and this one right here. Now, I can switch between adaptive cruise control and just regular cruise control. If I wanna do that, if I press and hold, you'll see it pop up, and now I'm just in regular cruise mode, which you can see up in there in the center, and I'm gonna press and hold, and now I'm back over to adaptive cruise control, so it'll let you know there too. Now, the difference between the two is classic cruise, I think everybody knows, but adaptive cruise allows me to get up to my speed, set, so where it says ACC off right there, it would show your speed, and then I can select the distance it's gonna keep between me and the car in front of me using this button. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna use this camera and the radar that's down in the grill. It's actually where the H is in the grill. So it's gonna use those two pieces of technology to detect cars in front of me, and then it's gonna keep spacing between me and that car in front of me. So the more boxes, the more space it's gonna keep. And that way, when you're driving on the highway, you can kind of figure out what your comfort zone is on how much space you want, or depending on your speed, maybe you want more space because you're going faster, right? So that's how that feature works. Fantastic feature. We're going to go on a test drive in a little bit, and I will use both these features and kind of explain how they work. I've never had an issue with them using them over the last few years in these cars, but we're going to test it again today just to make sure. So that is adaptive cruise control on your right side of the steering wheel. Now over here on your left, you do have auto on-off headlights that you can, set right here, which you can notice are already set with the hash. And then over on your other side, you've got your windshield wiper, just pull down, or if you want to splash it up, pull towards you to throw some water up on the windshield. Now over here, it looks like a touchscreen, but it isn't. What this is just a display screen, right? So be aware of that. You're not gonna be able to touch anything on this one. You gotta go up a model, get to the touchscreen. But it's a pretty simple setup, and a lot of people like it for that reason. I've got my dimmer right here. I've got, jump to radio or my media. So whether it be USB or Bluetooth, Pandora compatibility, if I'm going through Bluetooth or if I wanna plug in. So pretty simple setup here, and then jumping between tracks or jumping between my favorite stations if I'm on the radio. So, you can see it'll jump between whatever I've got going. So that's how that works. Over on your right side, you do have your Bluetooth. So if I wanted to jump over to my contacts or anything like that, and then my equalizer for the vehicle right there. And then I've got a back button right here, and clock and menu. So if I wanted to get over and adjust the clock, I can absolutely do it with one touch of a button. Down below that, I've got my AC controls. So it is a digital display, and it is dual climate, so it controls left and right separate of each other. So, how much air in the middle, hot or cold on what I want. So right now I have them synced up. If I unsync them, now I can change this one to 58 and leave this one on 71 in case the other person is getting a little cool. And then I can jump back to auto right there. And then I have, syncing the two up, and then I have auto right here if I want to just set it to a certain temperature and keep that in the cabin. Now down below that, I've got a USB down in here, you can see. Then I've got a power outlet in there I can also use. So just be aware of that. Oops. And then I've got, my shifter set up Econ. So if I want to improve the gas mileage of the car, turn this button on, you'll see it appear there, and then it'll appear right here with that green leaf. So you can see it flashing at you right now. How it works is you're going to give up some of the acceleration in the car and some of the AC power as far as your air conditioner, but it'll improve gas mileage. So what it really does is shuts down some of the electrical systems in the front of the car, limits some things, and sets you up with a little bit better gas mileage. Most people aren't going to notice. If you're a little bit more heavy-footed, a little bit more pedal to the metal kind of person, maybe you'll notice it. Turn it on and off as you want. But for most people, if you're a conservative driver, I say you can leave this on, just get the better gas mileage. You'll never know the difference, and you'll be just as happy. Now down below that, you will see that I have a parking brake that's electronic. To set it, put my foot on the brake, lift up, and it engages, and you'll notice the red LED lets me know, and then it also throws a brake emblem right there. And then to release it, just push down and it'll release it. Now brake hold is set to where if I'm in stop and go traffic in the cars and drive, what it will do is it will hold the brake to where I don't have to keep my foot on the pedal. And I'll show you how it works here, but let me throw my seatbelt on because that is a requirement of this feature. So get my seatbelt on here. All right, so I throw the car in drive, right? My car is in drive, and I'm gonna hit the brake hold button. And when I do that, you're gonna see it says brake hold here, and it's gonna say brake hold, and it's actually gonna say hold down below that. Now, I'm gonna let my foot off the brake now, so I have nothing down there and the car's in drive and it's holding the brake for me. Now, the minute I touch the gas, or the accelerator I should say, I'm gonna roll forward and start moving. I come back to a stop, and the minute it starts to hold the brake again, it's gonna say hold right there so you can see it, right? So let me get back under this tree so I have a little bit more shade here. Yeah, wait, you can see a little bit better. So yeah, now it's holding again. So that's the purpose of this. If I'm in like stop and go traffic, it'll continue to hold the brake for me every time I come to a stop, so I don't have to, you know, sit there and wear my leg out doing it. So that's how brake hold works. Now, as far as my center console, I got a nice big center console here. I like that. Opens up, I've got a nice little bit of storage space, and I have another power outlet down there, and then I do have a change holder, which I can put up here on a shelf. Now, in this car, you know, your classic, you know, normal setup, lit vanities. I do not have a moonroof. You'd have to go up 2 models for that. I have cloth interior. If you wanted leather interior, you could go up 1 to the Sport, or you could go up a few to the EXL, which will get you some additional features, which I go over in a different video. So this is the base model of this vehicle, just so you can get an idea. If you were changing interiors, let's say you were looking for something with a gray interior, you would notice that this would be gray, and along your doors would be gray also. So these are the places it would be gray, but you'll always have the black along the tops to prevent glare, black on the floorboards to prevent dirt from showing, or scuff marks or anything like that. So that is the quick rundown of the interior and exterior of the car. Let's go on a test drive, but first let's just show your backup camera, because I always forget to do that. So let me pull that up here and kind of show you how it works. So when I'm backing up, I have 3 different views that I can use. I've got a wide angle view right here, a normal view, and then one aimed straight down. So if I'm backing up to like a curb, a post, garage, or anything like that, I can see exactly where I'm at. Or if I'm parallel parking, you know, I've got this dotted line, which is about 6 inches from my car, and then I've got a solid line right here, which is gonna be for parallel parking purposes to leave me enough space. And you can see that on all of these: dotted line, solid line, you know, dotted line, solid line. So that way I can use these all to my advantage. So, all right, up next, we're gonna go on the test drive, and I'll go over some features, talk about the different models, which ones I think the best choice, where you should get this one, or it's worth the extra money to jump up to the Sport model, and we'll just explain if this is a good value. Other than that, we'll go into test drive, we'll talk about some of the safety features and how they work, and a few other things. So let's go on to test drive. All right, guys, well, it's time for a test drive in this 2020 Honda Accord, and this is the LX model, which I went over here a little bit ago, but we're gonna talk about some safety features, the ride quality, the sound, and all those different things, power and takeoff. So let's go over some of those features as I pull out of the parking lot here. It's a hot one here in Austin, so excuse my sweat droplets if you see them under my cheeks here, and my COVID beard that I've been growing. As I take off, it's a nice smooth ride. If you were comparing this car to like a Honda Civic, I would say that the smoother of the 2 rides is obviously gonna be this one. It's a little bit heavier, it's a little bit bigger wheelbase, so I think you're gonna get a little bit smoother ride, and you're also gonna get a little bit more quiet ride. And this is coming from someone who has owned a Civic, so I can speak to owning that car and kind of give you an idea for what it's like. Now, as I take off, I'm gonna give it some gas here. Let's see if we can get up to speed. You've got some power in this car. You've got 192 horsepower, and I mean, just that quick, I'm up to 60, right? So the car can get up and move for you. So it does have more power than like a Honda Civic. If you're going to the Sport model above this, it gets 5 more horsepower. I don't know that that's something you would notice. When it says Sport, if you're looking at the model above this, I would just say that it's a more sport performance-based look to the car, not necessarily the output, other than, you know, some dampening and different things related to suspension. And it's a great look. Now, as we come down around this corner here, I'm going to get my lane keep assist set up so that we can check to see if it keeps us centered in our lanes, as I was mentioning earlier on that feature. So I want to double check that. It's been in the car for years. It's been in a lot of the models for years, but I always like to check it to make sure new models are still working correctly and everything's going as planned. It's a fantastic feature, and then after that, we are going to check the adaptive cruise control, meaning that I'm going to get up to speed, I'm going to set it, I'm going to set my distance it keeps, and then I'll let it adjust for me as we go. So it's a fantastic feature too. If you're taking a long road trip or anything like that, it's really good at what it does. So, all right, as we get up to speed here, maybe we'll be checking adaptive cruise control first, because I am catching some Austin traffic here. So let's do that though. I'm gonna get up to speed here, get moving here, get my speed set, and my distance, perfect. So I have it set to 39 miles per hour. It's slowing me down right now and keeping me back from this truck that's in front of me, which is fantastic. So it means when I'm taking a trip, I can leave my foot off the gas or the brake. I don't have to mess with anything. If I want to increase the speed, I can do it off the steering wheel, or I can reset it, which is nice. So I just moved it up to, let's see, I'm moving it up to 65 here because I'm about to get on the highway. So fantastic feature, works great. It just allows me to do so much more without having to really work too hard. So I don't have to, hold my foot on the gas, try to get that perfect thing, and then hit set. I can just move it up and down with the plus and the minus, like your classic cruise control, and then set the distance it keeps between where that button you saw with the car and the spacing boxes in between. So perfect right now. To give you an idea, it just picked up my speed limit on this side road. Let me know it's 55. I'm getting up to 65, so it's kind of letting me know there in case a cop got behind me. And it's keeping my spacing between me and the car in front of me. So this is fantastic. I've got multiple features working at once to help me. Now, lane keep assist is actively running in the car because I am going over 45 miles an hour. What that's going to do is it's going to keep me centered in my lane. So I'm going to test it here in a second. I'm going to keep my hands kind of hovering over the steering wheel, but as you can see, I don't have my hands on the steering wheel. It's actually keeping me centered in this lane. That way I don't, come over into this secondary lane and hit traffic. So I'm going to put my hands back on the steering wheel just to be safe here. But I want to let you know that it does work. I have tested it for much longer than this down this actual road, but I'm not going to do it today because there's a little bit more traffic than I ideally would like. But fantastic. I love that these features work and they work well. What's cool about them is if it does lose track of the road, because it is using a camera right up there, it'll give you an alert in the car and let you know, hey, I've lost track of the road. Please put your hands on the steering wheel. And it usually does that in a good amount of time. That way you're not, already coming into another lane. Not that you should just be letting the car drive on its own anyway, but these are here in case you got distracted, you spilled your coffee, your dog jumped on you, your kid did something in the back. Life happens. We all understand that. We just want to make sure we're doing everything we can to protect ourselves and the others in the car. Now, as far as ride quality goes, like I said earlier, it's a nice smooth ride. We're up to speed. I'm going almost 70 miles an hour, and it's keeping me, I've got a nice smooth ride. I can have a conversation with someone. I could pull up Bluetooth and have a phone call without having to yell or scream. Because typically when I talk to older customers coming from older Bluetooth setups in cars, that's what they're running into is, oh, they can't hear me or I can't hear them. It's a nice clean setup. I've placed plenty of calls to customers, including some of my family who owns these cars. So just to give you an idea there. So I'm going to exit and spin back around. What I would tell you about the LX in comparison to the Sport model above it. I personally think the Sport model above it is worth the extra money. I want to say it's, I think, $2,500 to jump up. Don't quote me on that one. I might have to double check. But it's way worth just to have some of the features on the interior of the car. Exterior-wise, you could leave it or take it. If you want the larger wheels, the argument against that is, well, are my tires going to cost more? Maybe you want the front fascia to look a little bit sportier. Maybe you want the fog lights. Maybe you want the deck lid spoiler, and that look is important to you. The things I like, though, are the keyless entry and the remote start. I live in Texas. It's 97 degrees right now. It'd be really nice to be able to start my car from inside the house, cool it off so I can walk out, get in it, and drive away. So I appreciate that function. If you're coming from a colder climate, it works the opposite way, too. You can crank on the heater, get it heated up, and go out and get in your car, right? Now, additionally, when you get in the car, if you're moving up to the Sport, which is what we're talking about right now, I like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I like being able to plug my phone into the USB and be able to pull up my music, my messages, my navigation on the screen, and then the button I showed you on the steering wheel for voice command, I can use that, hold it until Siri comes on and asks Siri to do things. So those are fantastic features to me. And for me personally, that would be a reason to jump up to a Sport model. Now, if those features that I'm mentioning aren't important to you, you're really just looking for a point A to point B car that is safe, it's reliable, it gets good gas mileage, the LX would be a fantastic model. Whether you're looking to purchase it, lease it, they're running specials all the time on this car. So from that standpoint, I'd say you're doing well. I don't talk about price a lot because I think you should always reach out to your local dealership and see what specials they have running. But to give you an idea, I want to say that there's about $1,500 of markup in this car. And typically, there are other things you can take advantage of, whether it be military cash or graduate cash. But you do have to finance with Honda, so be aware of that if this is something you're looking into. And then occasionally they run other specials, related to dealer cash coming back to them. It's not huge like your domestic dealerships, so if you're coming from a Ford or Chevy and you're looking for that $5,000 and $10,000 off, it doesn't exist in a Honda, so just be aware of that when you're car shopping. But it's kind of nice to know that you could buy a Honda at full price and not really pay that much over what somebody who got the a great deal on it would be, right? So you're not really getting a bad deal on this car, even if you paid MSRP. Not that I'm telling you to do that, but knowing that, hey, there's about $1,500 a markup and maybe some dealer cash depending on the month and the economy. Right now, you might be able to get a little bit better deal, obviously, with everything going on related to COVID and the pandemic. If you're watching this video and it's a couple months from now, maybe that's a little bit different story, right? But know that you can always take advantage of military cash, graduate cash. Honda typically runs good interest rates on this car, whether it be like a 0.9, a 1.9, or 2.9, depending on the length of term you want to go also. So just some things to be aware of if you're looking to purchase the car. I don't like to focus on those things, though, because I think that is an opportunity for you to reach out, talk to a salesperson, some staff there, and kind of find out if that's a store you want to do business with. But related to the car itself, the LX is a great car, I think, for point A to point B. moving. But if you're looking for a couple extra features, I definitely think the jump up to the Sport is a great move. Whether you want to do that or not, it's completely up to you and your situation. Everybody comes from a different reason for why they want a car or not. Whether it's a powered seat in your Sport model or you want the manual seat. Maybe you're the only other person who rides in this car and that doesn't matter to you. So, with all of that said, I think this is a great car. I do think the model right above this is a better value, even though you are paying more. But that's just my personal opinion as far as what I think is important in a car. Now, on that subject, if you have questions about this car, please feel free to give me a call, give me an email. If you want to call me or text me, my cell is 737-443-9555. Be more than happy to help you if I can. Just shoot me over text. Let me know what you're trying to figure out. If we need to get a conversation going on the phone just because it's a little bit easier or it's a longer explanation, we'll absolutely do that too. Or if you want to email me because you just prefer to contact that way, the letter J and then F and then _1064 @Yahoo. It's my personal email. You can shoot me an email. Be more than happy to help you out. Or comment on the YouTube video. If there's something you want to know more about, if there's something you wish I'd have gone over, or if there's something, hey, in the future, could you explain how this feature works or how this works or go over this specific car? I would love to do that for you. I just need to know what you need help with. So feel free to reach out to me. Give me a call, give me a text, give me an email, and let me know. Comment on the YouTube video. I do have a couple favors. If you've watched this far, will you do me 3 favors? 1, please like the video. 2, please leave a comment on the video, and please subscribe. If you want to see more videos about this and you want to learn about Hondas, that's what I'm here for. If you want to see me go over another car that's not a Honda, let me know that too. Got a couple friends at other dealerships, maybe I can make a stop by. Other than that, I want to say thanks again for watching. Hopefully you'll subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.